stop. Before you say yes to one more small favor, listen. Right now, someone less capable than you is pulling you into their orbit with a kindness you never asked for. Why are you starting to feel you owe them? Because they offered help in public so everyone witnessed it? Because they were fast and decisive while you hesitated? Because they called it nothing while making sure you remember it forever? And because favors aren't free. They're invoices without a price, until the moment they decide to collect. Here's the dangerous truth. Favors are not generosity. They are currency. They are leashes disguised as ribbons. Pretend it isn't true if you want, but the people who rule rooms, teams, and families already know it. Machiavelli knew it 5 centuries ago. Power doesn't move by compliments. It moves by obligation. This is your turning point. Not for motivation, not for comfort, for control. In this series, you'll learn how to neutralize hidden debts, flip obligations without becoming a villain, and set boundaries so cold and clean that manipulators lose their grip mid-sentence. Watch closely. From this moment on, your guilt will not be indulged. It will be replaced. You were not born in debt to anyone. That voice is not your strength. It's your leash. The favor trap is simple. A person front-loads kindness, you feel warmth, and then an invisible clock starts ticking. Days later, their ask arrives wrapped in soft language. Could you just? The smaller the favor felt at the start, the more righteous they feel demanding the big one later. They're not asking for help, they're collecting. And if you hesitate, they add sugar and pressure at the same time. Don't worry if you can't. Translation: pay up. Here is the first cut through the fog. Obligation is a frame, not a fact. Your mind wants to balance books. Their trick is simple. They sneak their entry into your ledger without your consent. The counter is just as simple. Refuse the ledger. Not rudely, calmly, precisely. When someone tries to do you a favor, you have 3 moves: convert, cap, or cancel. You just turned a ghost debt into a receipt. No emotion, no leash. Now the hook is too small to pull you. Or cancel it entirely with gratitude and a boundary. I'm good, really. Smile. Slow voice. Then silence. You didn't argue. You didn't explain. You didn't give the servant inside you the mic. You ended the scene. You think they'll be offended? Maybe. That's the test. People who wanted to help for real feel relieved when you make it easy and clear. People who wanted leverage feel exposed when you remove the leash. You are not being unkind. You are being precise. Nice people get used. Precise people get respected. This is the Machiavellian difference between appearing good and being effective. You don't announce purity, you practice clarity. Now, the code of obligation has 2 edges: receiving favors and giving them. You must master both if you want to move through human networks without being dragged by them. Start with receiving. If the favor is spontaneous and public, assume there's a hook. When someone rushes to pick up your tab, answers for you in a meeting, or volunteers your time for just a little thing in front of others, that's not generosity. That's choreography. The play is to make you nod while the room watches. Your counter is the slow pause. Not a frown, not a fight. Then you send it. Immediately. Record closed. Ledger denied. If the favor is private and genuinely helpful, still remove the future leash. Once. Clean. Simple. Your words are scalpel cuts. You're signaling, I won't play the endless debt game. No apology, no essay. You are calm granite. Remember, you are not auditioning for approval. You are training the world how to treat you. Now the other edge, giving favors. If you help, do it for one of 3 reasons: to protect your standards, to move a project forward you own, or to strategically open a door you will close yourself. Never help to be liked. Never help to feel safe. Never help to install a leash you're not willing to hold. Help creates gravity. Used wisely, it pulls relationships into healthy orbit. Used carelessly, it becomes a black hole that devours your time, money, and peace. If your help is building someone who will stand above you, block you, or replace you, you are not generous. You are digging your own pit. That doesn't mean hoard everything. It means aim help where it strengthens your position, your team, your family's stability, your standards, never against them. Cold? Maybe. True? Always. If you choose to help, do not dump an ocean of generosity in one day. That creates shock, dependency, and wild expectations. Give measured, bounded help in intervals you control. It keeps people steady and grateful instead of confused and entitled. And if you must cut, cut fully and fast. Dragging out a no is the same as paying interest on someone else's debt. Let's get practical. Translation: they purchased your yes. Your reply, delivered with calm and gravity: appreciate you stepping in. I've already arranged my weekend. No edge, no apology. A slow, final tone. If they push, you don't defend. You moved the discussion to structure and policy, the one place emotional leashes can't pull you. This is fox logic inside a lion's posture. You reply, grateful for the gear. I prefer to keep creative commitments planned. You just turned the favor fog into a clear fork. Either they take the gear back and the ledger evaporates, or they accept the rental and the ledger becomes a receipt. No guilt, no leash. Family is trickier because the ledger is ancient. A cousin pulls strings for a job lead, then the aunt calls to say you owe attendance at a wedding 3 cities away. Stop. You don't repay career moves with travel favors. That's cross-ledger manipulation. You respond to the cousin directly. Thank you for the intro. I'm grateful. If I can help you with prep for your interview next month, say the word. Clean, specific. You offered a relevant return in the same lane. You refused the random debt they tried to staple to you. If guilt arrives, understand what it is. Someone else's accounting error projected onto your life, not your balance to fix. Here's the deeper psychology. The moment you say, I owe you, your nervous system lowers your status internally. You move differently. You over-explain. You nod too much. That's why people run the favor game. They want to downgrade you without a fight. Your counter is posture and tempo. When hearing an offer, slow your breathing. Let 2 seconds pass before you answer. Look at them, not down. Speak as if your words are already final. You aren't buying time to think, you're generating gravity. The room adjusts to you. Predators sprint. Rulers measure. Yes, sometimes a favor is clean and pure. Sometimes someone gives because they can and they want to. Accept with warmth. But even then, keep your centers tight. Don't become dependent on their timing, their money, their kindness. If everything you do requires their yes, you are no longer building your life, you are borrowing it. And borrowed lives are repossessed the moment convenience changes hands. Machiavelli's core principle applies. Control dependencies or be controlled by them. You choose. What about when you actually want to repay? Do it fast, simple, and closed. Fast so the leash can't grow. Simple so there's no ambiguity. You helped last month with the vendor. Appreciate you. I booked the courier for your shipment today. That last sentence, we're square, isn't rude. It's a line that keeps the ledger from becoming a hallway. Then change the subject once, not 5 times. You're setting a boundary. A boundary is only a boundary if it holds under pressure. What if you've already stepped into a favor trap? You can still get out. Step 1, acknowledge the exchange in clear terms. Step 2, define your return. Step 3, exit the loop. Heard, not accepted. You don't argue with guilt, you ignore it. If they escalate to public shame, you say, happy to clarify privately, and you walk. Lions don't stage debates. Foxes don't get caught in them. If you lead a team, the principles invert but remain consistent. Don't overload people with one massive favor you must call in later. Break support into predictable systems. Resources, clear feedback, realistic deadlines. Don't spot your team with last-minute rescue missions that make you the hero. Build processes that make them the heroes. Credit travels farther than favors. Credit is clean. Favors are sticky. And when you must say no, say it in one piece. Don't sugar it over 3 meetings. Then change the subject once, not 5 times. You're setting a boundary. A boundary is only a boundary if it holds under pressure. What if you've already stepped into a favor trap? You can still get out. Step 1. Acknowledge the exchange in clear terms. Step 2. Define your return. Step 3. Exit the loop. Heard, not accepted. You don't argue with guilt, you ignore it. If they escalate to public shame, you say, happy to clarify privately, and you walk. Lions don't stage debates. Foxes don't get caught in them. If you lead a team, the principles invert but remain consistent. Don't overload people with one massive favor you must call in later. Break support into predictable systems. Resources, clear feedback, realistic deadlines. Don't spot your team with last-minute rescue missions that make you the hero. Build processes that make them the heroes. Credit travels farther than favors. Credit is clean. Favors are sticky. And when you must say no, say it in one piece. Don't sugar it over 3 meetings. We can't allocate to this. One cut. Then presence. Silence. People can feel when decisions are final, and they respect you for not pretending otherwise. A warning about generosity theater. The person who announces their favors the loudest is building a stage, not a relationship. They speak in tallies. Note the rhythm. Every kindness is a seed for a public harvest. Don't be angry. Be exact. Treat it like data. This is a ledger mind. Handle them with receipts or not at all. If you must interact, keep exchanges written, limited, and unambiguous. Noted, my contribution, A, B, C. Your contribution, D. The moment they try to add a smile tax, the document saves you. Paper cuts through performance. You may worry, won't this make me cold? The opposite. It makes you clean. You stop resenting people for strings you allowed. You stop agreeing to things you can't deliver. You stop saying yes with your mouth and no with your moods. People feel safer around clarity than around charm. Adults prefer the second. Users prefer the first. Let your boundaries push the right people closer and the wrong people away. That's not cruelty, that's filtration. Finally, the identity shift. You are not the person who keeps accounts for everyone else. You are not the person who pays with your energy because someone smiled while they trapped you. You are the person whose word is a contract and whose silence is a wall. You are not hard to get. You are hard to obligate. And that difference will change how you walk into rooms. You won't rush to reciprocate. You will decide when, how, and if reciprocation serves the outcome you are building. This is not about becoming selfish, it's about becoming sovereign. When your yes is rare, it becomes valuable. When your no is calm, it becomes respected. And when you refuse the invisible ledgers strangers try to staple to your life, you become something most people have never met, a person who cannot be moved by guilt. You can be generous, you can be warm, you can be helpful, but do it like a ruler, not like a debtor. Give on your timeline, receive on your terms. Close the ledger quickly. And when someone tries to turn their favor into your leash, you lift your head, slow your voice, and let the silence do the rest. The right people will understand. The wrong people will fall away. That's the point. That's the code. You've learned to shut the invisible ledger and keep your hands free. Now you turn something subtler: how to move through favors without ever being trapped by them, and how to give in a way that strengthens your position, not weakens it. Most people treat favors like rain, random, emotional, unplanned. You won't. You'll treat them like weather you forecast and routes you choose. When a favor floats toward you, you don't react, you classify. Is it a hook, a hand, or a hazard? Hooks arrive public and fast, with smiles that travel too far. Hands arrive private and sane, with clear limits. Hazards arrive wrapped in chaos, taking more to say yes than it would take to do the thing yourself. You don't need to memorize 1,000 scenarios, you need 3 sentences and a spine. Delivered slowly, like a door that closes once and fully. That's the mindset. Now, the moves. The first move is pre-commit boundaries. Before favors appear, set the rules that your life will obey. You tell your team, your friends, your family what you don't do on weeknights, what you don't do for free, what you don't do at the last minute. Not defensively, casually, as if you're describing the weather. Hits, you aren't rude, you're predictable. I don't do unscheduled calls. Comatosis will call this cold. It's not, it's clean. And clean wins long term because there's nothing to resent. No fake yes, no hidden no. Just you, consistent. Consistency creates gravity. People learn your orbit and stop throwing rocks at your windows at midnight. The second move is the third option. Manipulators force a fork, accept their favor and owe them, or reject it and look ungrateful. You create the third path. Neutralize with structure. If you want to help, here's the sign-up doc. Pick any one task. You took the fog and gave it a form. Some will vanish because fog was their weapon. Others will help because form is their friend. The third option rescues you when those close to you try to oblige you with kindness. Your cousin shows up with a spare car you can use for a month, then starts texting you about rides and errands. You reply, "Appreciate the generosity, I'll do a week and return it Saturday at noon." Third option, ledger closed, dignity intact. The third move is the receipt. You create proof and equality. Got it. Money is the easiest receipt. If time isn't right, clarity is. Your input saved me 2 hours. Note that line, marking a square. Some will bristle, they wanted the long leash. But the right people feel safe here. They sense the boundary and trust it. You aren't dismissing their kindness. You're protecting the friendship from becoming a quiet negotiation. Let's walk inside a common ambush, the public favor. Everyone nods. You feel the warmth and the hook under it. After the meeting, you don't grovel. You send one clean email. Appreciate the support. If you're still able to forward, please share it as is. You didn't make them a gatekeeper. You gave them a window, and you said what happens if the window shuts. You're not harsh, you're sovereign. Watch how your shoulders change when you write messages like this. Your body knows when you've taken your life back. There's a darker trick you need to see to stop being surprised by it. Someone will accidentally do too much. They'll overdeliver, then hold the excess over you. Feels generous. It's not. It's leverage. The counter is elegant and final. Understood. I asked for A. You generously added B and C. I'll repay A. You're not being petty. You're ending the habit that devours people's weeks. Overhelp is an invoice in costume. Strip the costume off, and the ghost leaves the room. Now the flip side, how you help without binding yourself to the stake. Give clean, bounded favors with a visible end. One discrete slice, not a rolling buffet. If you're opening a door for someone, open it once. Do not stand in the doorway for a month. If you're buying time for a friend, specify the time. I'll cover you for 1 a week. That last sentence separates love from leash. Love lifts, leashes drag. And if you truly want to help deeply, design the help so it removes future asks. Build a template. Teach the process. Introduce them to the tool. The highest generosity is independence, not dependence. The world is full of helpers who secretly like being needed. Don't be that. It rots your schedule and inflates your ego until both burst. Appearances will try to fool you. They always do. When a favor is loud, suspect theater. When a favor is quiet, check for clarity. If they say nothing, you respond, then let's keep it clean. If they protest that you're making it transactional, what they mean is you ruined their transaction by making it visible. Stay calm. Think like a fox. Stand like a lion. Say less. Move on. People will get used to a stronger version of you faster than you think. Here's a move that will save you from the worst category: favors that multiply. Someone asks for 2 minutes, which becomes 20, which becomes tomorrow, which becomes your month. You stop this with an early timestamp. Then you end at 5. Not because you're cruel, because you meant your words. And your words, consistently kept, turn into a reputation that protects you from the endless reach of other people's emergencies. Emergencies are their favorite way to bypass your boundaries. Emergencies are contagious. Quarantine them at your calendar. Your calendar is not a diary, it's a shield. I want you to internalize a truth that will feel uncomfortable the first few times you say it. Not all obligations are honorable. Some are weapons. When someone plays the "after all I've done for you" card, they're telling you they were trading, not giving. You will be tempted to defend yourself with history, lists, receipts, old kindnesses. Don't. The defense is the trap. The move is refusal to perform. I appreciate what you've done. Full stop. Let the silence say the rest. They'll spin. They'll accuse. They'll say you've changed. You have. Good. That sentence changes more than a relationship. It changes your nervous system. It tells your body it will no longer be debt-funded by other people's expectations. Let's talk about strategic generosity, the kind that actually increases trust without buying control or being bought by it. When you give, choose gifts that evaporate cleanly. A meal, a book sent, a ride shared once. Avoid gifts that require maintenance from you or the receiver. No half promises. No, I'll check in weekly to make sure. No lifetime subscriptions to your time. Make your help either a bridge they can walk without you or a boost that ends the moment they land. You aren't reducing love. You are removing ambiguity. Ambiguity ruins friendships. Clear edges save them. Friends flourish when both know where they stand and neither is trying to own the other with kindness. Another tactic: rescue people from their own favor traps with you. Sounds strange, but it's noble and smart. When someone tries to do too much for you because they want you later, disarm it early. I don't want you overextending for me. You just modeled a standard. Strong people will love you for it. Manipulators will drift. Perfect result either way. You want your circle filled with those who understand power as stewardship, not capture. The workplace has a special economy of obligation. Learn its language. Praise often. Owe rarely. Credit loudly. Commit narrowly. Later becomes leverage. Your career depends on your ability to detect hidden invoices. The fastest tell? The favor comes with a story attached. Good to know. Now you know who converts help into sermons. Listen once. Don't hire them into your soul. A word about family and culture, because guilt is not equally loud in every house. Some families run on sacrifice poems. Some cultures sing in scorekeeping harmony. You will not dismantle a century with a single sentence, but you can build a room inside yourself with different air. In that room, you evaluate asks by fit, not by pressure. You practice love without ledger. You'll be accused of forgetting. You haven't forgotten. You remember so precisely that you refuse to play the game that corrodes love. You give what you can carry, and you carry it well. That's honoring your people more than bleeding for their applause. You might be wondering, when do you intentionally install obligation? Isn't that the point of Machiavellian strategy, to bind others to you? Here's the nuance most copycats miss. Obligations that last are built on alignment, not entanglement. If you want loyalty, create stakes you share. Co-build a thing that pays both of you. Give responsibility, not treats. Treats make pets. Responsibility makes partners. The strongest favor you can give a capable person is a role with authority and clear metrics. They won't owe you, they'll own with you. Ownership is cleaner than obligation and 10 times more powerful. When you must impose a hard limit because someone won't stop using favors as a leash, you end it in one message, not 12. We see favors differently. I'm not available for this dynamic. Then you vanish. Not to punish, to heal. Sometimes the only clean antidote to a long, sticky ledger is distance. You don't wait for the perfect speech. You walk. Distance starves the ledger of oxygen. Without your participation, their accounting shrivels to a story they tell themselves. You can't control their story. You can control your exit. Presence is your quiet ally through all of this. Slow movements, a still gaze, fewer words. If you walk into rooms like a collector, you'll keep paying in ways you don't see. Walk in like a decision, and favors will stop feeling like traps because you'll choose your yes with the calm of a king who knows tomorrow will ask more of him than today. If you must compromise, make it explicit and finite. If you must change your mind, do it early, not after resentment grows vines around your throat. I thought I could, I can't. Express regret, not apology theater. You're not acting, you're adjusting reality with respect. You will slip. You will say yes when you meant no. You will let a favor expand like fog and then curse yourself for not seeing it. Forgive yourself fast and course correct faster. I overcommitted. I can deliver A, not B. That sentence will feel like a metal taste on your tongue the first few times. It's the taste of freedom. You are building a new spine, one that bends when you decide, and never because someone said, "After all I've done." If all of this feels heavy, watch what happens when you practice it for 2 weeks. Your messages become shorter, your calendar gets breathable, the people who respect you feel closer, the people who were using you feel farther. Your evenings stop being hostage negotiations. You'll find your kindness grows because it's no longer a lie. You'll help more with better energy because you won't be busy paying off 5 invisible debts while you stir the soup. This is the difference between soft and strong. Soft kindness says yes and resents you later. Strong kindness says no to the wrong thing so it can say a full, bright yes to the right one. Now anchor this. Favors aren't free. They are either clean bridges or hidden chains. You decide which by your response, not by their performance. You are allowed to make it simple. You are allowed to be clear. Let them call it whatever protects their story. You will protect your life. In part 3, you'll take this further. How to turn rejection, scarcity, and silence into a reputation that immunizes you from the favor trap entirely. And how to design an inner government that refuses to be bought even by your own guilt. For now, hold this line at the front of your mind when the next smiling obligation arrives. Your yes is not a gift if it is a leash. Your no is not cruelty if it is clean. You've learned to see the hook and cut the leash. Now you build something harder to counterfeit. A life that can't be purchased with kindness, guilt, or urgency. This is where most people relapse. Hear me clearly. The cost of a tiny breach isn't the task, it's the precedent. A single unguarded yes teaches the world how to walk through your doors. So you redesign the house. You set the doors, the windows, the locks, and the visiting hours. After that, you don't need to fight every request. Your structure answers for you. Start with scarcity by design. Not the childish game where you pretend to be busy, real scarcity. The kind that comes from commitments you actually keep to your health, your work, your craft, your people. When your calendar is a sculpture instead of a sponge, you stop absorbing other people's plans. You'll notice something quiet and powerful. The asks become fewer, clearer, and more respectful. People sense gravity. They feel the orbit. Your time stops looking like community property and starts looking like a city with borders. That's good. Countries with borders trade better, fight less, and thrive longer. Then add silence as policy. Not the passive-aggressive kind, deliberate silence as a filter. You don't sprint to be helpful. You answer at the hour you chose, in the tone you chose. Silence makes manipulators reveal themselves. They send follow-ups with sugar and edge in the same sentence. They escalate to guilt. After everything I've done, you let it sit. You respond when your mind is cold, not when your pulse is high. Silence removes the theater from the conversation. Without the applause of your immediate reaction, their performance falls flat, and your decision stands taller. Now the inner government, your private constitution that refuses to be bought, even by your own guilt. 5 laws will keep you sovereign when the world tests your gates. Law 1. No debt I didn't authorize. If a person rushes ahead and does it for you, you didn't agree. Therefore, you don't owe. You pay for what you asked for, not for what they performed to trap you. You can be gracious without becoming the accountant for someone else's theater. A crisp line ends the scene. I appreciate the effort. It's not cold, it's clean. Cold is pretending to agree and then resenting them. Clean is the kindness of truth. Law 2. Price before favor. If they balk, you're not losing a friend, you're escaping a collector. People who get offended at clarity were never planning to be fair. Law 3. One slice, not a buffet. If you step in, you choose one specific action, one deadline, one completion signal. Real generosity ends cleanly. It doesn't drip forever. Drip help isn't help. It's a slow IV attached to your week. Law 4. Credit instead of favors. If you want strong teams, give recognition, not quiet liens on people's time. You led that. Credit frees. Favors bind. Build your reputation on the first, and you won't need the second. Law 5. Boundaries announced once. You don't repeat a no 5 ways. You say it once, like a door that shuts softly and seals. The scramble to soften after the no is where obligation sneaks in. Full stop. If they press, you repeat the same sentence, not a new explanation. Pressure feeds on new words. Starve it. Let's step into the situations that usually twist good people into debtors. The emergency that isn't. Someone pings you. It's urgent. You know the rhythm. 5 becomes 50. You don't debate whether it's urgent for them. You clarify whether it's urgent for your role. I'm not available now. You just did something rare. You offered a tight window instead of a vague promise. They will either focus their chaos into your container, or they will take their chaos somewhere else. Either outcome protects your life. You covered someone last month, now the requests arrive with assumed authority. No. The amount isn't the issue. The consent is. You answer, that was a one-time cover. If they try to create a moral drama, refuse to be the actor. Then end the thread. You'll be shocked how fast the storm dies when you stop feeding it with explanations. The public generosity trap. In front of others, someone volunteers your time. You smile once and reclaim your agency. I prefer to commit privately. Then you change the subject. Don't debate it in the spotlight they built. Predators sprint in bright light. Rulers move in shade. Learn to watch the hands. A certain type of person will reach for your calendar, your network, your attention like a shopper feeling fabrics they never planned to buy. You feel the tug because you're capable and you care. Form is how you turn fog into something countable. Fog can drown you. Countable things can be carried. What if you actually want to build influence without the slime of obligation? The formula is simple and rare. Make other people more independent around you, not less. Teach them a process that deletes future asks. Share a tool and a checklist. Put your knowledge in a template, not in a recurring meeting that eats your Thursdays. The insecure leader hears that as loss. The sovereign leader hears that as freedom. Power multiplied, not hoarded, makes you the person people guard, not the person they game. Sometimes you will be tested in the language of love. You are not property. Love does not require debt. It thrives on clear agreements. I can do A. The right hearts will adjust around your clarity. The wrong ones will accuse you of being selfish because your boundaries block their harvest. Let them speak. Your job is not to fix their opinion. Your job is to maintain a life you can carry without breaking. You also need a public reputation that does half the work for you. People should learn in their first week around you that you are warm and narrow. Warm when you say yes, narrow about what you say yes to. They should know that you return favors fast and finish them clean. They should hear you credit others by name and date. They should see you avoid the podium when you've helped. Public modesty, private receipts. That combination makes collectors avoid you and builders trust you. You'll notice how the temperature changes. The room gets calmer when you enter because you carry decisions the way a seasoned pilot carries a plane. And steady, words sparse, eyes alive. Let's turn to rejection as positioning, the antidote to the favor trap at scale. Rejection is a map, not an insult. When someone says no, they're telling you your value didn't land in their world as essential. Good. You just got coordinates. Use them. Sharpen the place where your work isn't undeniable. Upgrade the part of your image that doesn't transmit clarity. And in your personal circle, use rejection to cull the ledgers. The people who only want access when it's cheap aren't your people. You don't punish them, you price them out by sticking to your standard. If they walk, they were never buyers, only browsers. Design a simple ritual for endings so you stop dragging old obligations like ghost chains. When a season ends, write one clean message. I'm closing this lane. When a dynamic is unhealthy, don't build a courtroom, sign an exit. We see favors differently. Rituals close loops your nervous system would otherwise keep open. Open loops are where guilt grows. Close them and your mind gets quiet enough to choose again. Now the deepest line. Build a self you cannot bribe. That means learning the shape of your cravings and cutting the strings they create. If you crave approval, someone will bait you with praise and buy your week. If you crave speed, someone will bait you with "it'll only take a minute" and buy your month. If you crave being the hero, someone will bait you with a crisis and buy your year. Walk through each craving and set a counter. Approval? You give yourself private credit on paper every night so you don't need their applause tomorrow. Speed? You schedule buffers between tasks so just a minute can't land. Hero? You practice letting people sit in their mess without rescuing them. Not because you don't care, but because you want them strong, not indebted. You will be accused of being calculating. You are. Calculation is not cruelty, it's the math of a life that stays free. You will be told you've changed. You have. You can be warm and not be owned. You can be generous and not be groomed. You can be helpful and still have doors. Watch how your posture changes once this identity sets. That's not arrogance, that's stewardship of your days. Here's your closing protocol to run whenever a favor crosses your path. 1. Pause. Slower breath, slower words, slower hands. 2. Define. 3. Container. 4. Cost. If the cost is your sleep, your primary work, or your promises to people you love, the answer is no by default. 5. Closure. If you say yes, write the end. If you say no, don't write an essay, write a period. 6. Record. Note what happened. Patterns become visible only when you track them. If the same name shows up in your log next month, that's not a favor, it's a system trying to enroll you. Decline enrollment. You're feeling the weight of your own decisions settle into your bones. This is what sovereignty feels like. Quiet, not loud. Presence, not performance. And the world reacts. The collectors become cautious. The givers get clearer. The "after all I've done" speeches fade because the audience, you, left the theater. You didn't slam the door, you built a better one and closed it once. You weren't reshaped by affirmations, you were realigned by actions. You turned generosity into clarity, obligation into choice, and guilt into data. You stopped letting people staple invisible invoices to your life. You stopped training the room to expect your free labor. You started teaching the room to expect your clean yes and your clean no. You did it slowly, on purpose, with a face that stayed calm when the old games tried to pull you back. This is your recap. You neutralized the trap. No debt you didn't authorize. You installed scarcity and silence as policies, not moods. You gave in slices, not buffets. You swapped favors for credit. You shut doors kindly and once. You built a self that can't be bribed by its own cravings. That's the man who walks back into the same rooms and somehow the air moves around him first. Now the choice. Keep paying interest on other people's expectations, or collect your time, your focus, your peace, and pay them into the future you're actually building. Keep letting just one more thing rent space in your week, or raise the rent to something only your mission can afford. Keep chasing invitations, or become the standard people have to meet to stand close. If you're done trading your freedom for favors, tap like. If you're ready to become the kind of person they can't obligate, can't guilt, and can't predict, subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next step. Drop a comment with "no ledgers" so I know you've crossed the line. Share this with one friend who keeps paying in guilt and calling it kindness. This isn't self-help, this is strategy. And you just sharpened yourself into a blade.